So this is the December 2023 edition of what I've been writing with lately. This is the video which I talk about the pens and pencils that I've been using lately. It's not a set of reviews or recommendations. It's just what's been on my desk for the past couple, in this case, months, but usually the past month. Things are a little wild lately, so there's no real rhyme or reason to these, and it's just reflective, sort of like kind of what's been happening for me and the work I've been doing. So jump right into it. I would say the first one I've been using a whole lot is this. This has come up many times in the writing with videos. This is a Pilot Tec-Point V7. Basically what this is, it's a Pilot rollerball, a capped rollerball, kind of this old school needle tip version. The nice thing about the Tec-Point is that it uses the cartridge system. So this is actually refillable, and I've refilled this one a few times, and you could see actually this was a blue pen. Clearly the pen is blue on the outside, but I have a black refill in it, and what happens is you could use this just like you would a normal pen. Eventually the cartridge runs out, and you could put in a cartridge for it's called a Tec-Point cartridge. It's shaped like a standard Pilot cartridge, but it uses slightly thicker rollerball ink, and I've refilled this one 2 or 3 times. It's still going really strong, probably more like 3 or 4 times. Still going strong, and this pen I use a lot, and now it's sort of been like an epic quest to see how many times this pen can be refilled, and I'm not trying to wear it down. It's just like I tend to grab it a lot just to see how long this one will go, and eventually I think the ball tends to wear out and it'll start to leak, but so far so good. Still a very nice writer, and I always do like the shape of the Tec-Point, and I like that it's refillable. I think it's a great looking pen. Has this cool little window here. Still very nice click and all that. Starting to look a little kind of maybe a little faded, but overall working great and still a very nice writer. Kind of funny to me that it, not that funny, but funny enough that it has the black ink in the blue pen. Not something you would typically expect in a pen like this, which, from the outside looks disposable. And if you've used the Pilot V7 or V5, it would have been disposable. It just happens that this Japanese version, the Tec-Point, is refillable. Before I said the V5 or V7, I meant the Precise, which would be the US or European one, as opposed to the Tec-Point. Kind of in keeping with my rollerball usage, I've been getting a fair bit of use out of this. This one is called a Schneider. It's a German pen company. They make these. It's called the One Business, and this is a 0.6 millimeter, which is sort of like that's the European sizing. That has to do with the actual size of the ball, so it comes out to be a 1.0 millimeter equivalent. Has that kind of strange plasticky tip, and I've just been using more green ink lately, and that'll be for note taking, some highlighting, I guess, too, or underlining or whatever, but it's a nice writer. It is relatively smooth, not great, has a kind of a strange feel to it with that all plastic front end, slightly strange look. Has a sort of stealthy writing tip, which you can't really see the ball, but it's a good writer. I like these, kind of not very common pen in the US, and kind of using these just for day-to-day writing. This is the One Business S. My hands are freezing, so not refillable. So a fun pen to use, but not not a cartridge system like before. Nice big size, kind of a bulky pen, nice and wide. So definitely a nice counterpoint to something a little bit more narrow and hard plastic like the Tec-Point. I've also been using these a lot. I've talked about these many times. I guess I'm like kind of very much in my comfort zone these days with the pens and pencils I've been using. This is the Stabilo. This is called the Black Plus. It used to be called, or the other line of this is called the Worker Plus. It's a capped rollerball with an ergonomic shape. This one is purple, and I think this one is the medium. No, sorry, this is the fine. So this is just a really, really great Rollerball has that cool purple ink. They call it lilac, but it's, just purple. And this is just a very reliable, very smooth rollerball that puts out a nice amount of ink, and it's very comfortable in your hand. It looks really cool. It's fully rubberized aside from these little pieces here. Just kind of like not a common pen in the US, and I would say one that's definitely underrated. Has a short little cap, but everything about this pen works really well. It's just like extremely well designed and works. The more common one is the Worker. I guess it's called the Worker Plus, and that's really bright orange, but it's the same thing. The Black Plus is just it uses black instead of orange. I don't think there's any difference. I really like these. You could buy them pretty easily for about $5 online from Amazon, some other places, and definitely I like these a lot. I've always had them in blue or black, and then I guess I realized at some point they have all these other colors, so I bought this purple one just to have a different color ink. I don't have a lot of purple pens. And then I've also been using this. This is called the Stabilo, so same company. It's the Bionic Worker. Maybe it's the Worker Bionic, something like that. And basically what happens is the Bionic series is the same pen, but it has this hard plastic back, and it's refillable, not with a cartridge, but a full-on refill. So you could buy these. This is the medium, so this is the 0.4 millimeters, a little bit bigger than the fine. I think the fine's at 0.3. And it's funny with the refill is like basically a pen unto itself, but the refill fits in here, and then you have the full-on pen. And this one is just like the Worker Plus, but it's refillable. I actually prefer, I would say, between the two, I would prefer the Bionic. I like the front section is just as comfortable with that rubberized, but you don't have the rubberized back, which honestly you don't really need. So I kind of like this one and how it feels a little bit more. And then I really do like that it is refillable. The refills are a little bit hard to find, but you can track them down online. Highly recommend these, and I have many times in the past, so maybe it's not the most interesting pen I've been using, but I'm a big fan of these. I had another one of these I featured on the many videos, and I was kind of playing around with the refill, seeing if I could refill it, and I kind of broke it, so had to buy another one, but you can't refill these refills. So next up, we have this pen. This is the Pilot Legno, and this is a lot like the Pilot S20 ballpoint rather. And this is it's a slightly larger pen, the S20, but it's essentially quite similar. It's a wood body with all metal hardware. It uses the same refill, which is the Pilot, the little I think they call it the BRF series refill, and just a really cool, really handsome executive pen. I actually prefer the S20, but if that's too small for you, then you might want to look at the Legno. It has a similar aesthetics, and it's a little bit wider and a little bit heavier looking. So it's kind of, just a kind of a bigger, more substantial pen, but it has a lot of the same qualities as that S20. It's hard to find, but if you search around Amazon or eBay, you could probably find one. That's the Legno, and it's the Legno. It comes with the Acro ink, which is Pilot's equivalent of the Jetstream ink, but I've replaced it with a really thick, I think it's a 1.4 or 1.6, 1.6 millimeter ballpoint. So this is the BRF-25-BB. So definitely a specialty refill. It's fun for quick notes or signatures, or like crossing stuff out is really, really the best, because it is that nice thick ballpoint and it writes on anything. It's not that smooth. It has that real kind of old school ballpoint kind of drag feel to it that you might expect from a Bic Crystal 1.6 or something like that. But it's definitely a really cool refill and a very cool pen. I think you can get one of these for about maybe $25 or $30. So I use this one a lot, or I have been using it a lot. I typically use the S20 more, but this is a really cool one to pull out, and that refill's a lot of fun. Had to do some traveling, and when I travel, I try to grab like one pen, maybe two pens, but not say, hey, this is what I'm going to use for the trip. And for that, I like using sometimes I'll use a multi-pen. If I'm using a multi-pen, it's usually a Jetstream. So I arrived at this one. This is the new-ish, I think it came out this year or last year, Jetstream 3. I forget the official name. I don't forget. It's not the Jetstream 3 Slim, but it's something like that. And this is the one that came out with the new high-capacity black refill. I reviewed it earlier this year on the channel, so if you look back, you'll find it. And basically, you have your blue, your red, and the button on the top is your black ink. And Uni came out this year with a new refill, and it's a black multi-pen refill. This is it. And basically has a thinner wall, so it uses less plastic, but it also increases the ink capacity. So it has, I think, 75% more ink than the standard refill. The standard refill would have been the SXR-80, and this is called the SXR-ML-05. So the other one would be SXR-80-05. So this is the refill I have in here. That's a 0.5 millimeter with the high capacity. And then in the other two, I have the SXR-80 in the 1.0 millimeter. So these are their wide Jetstream refills, which I really like, but they tend to wear out pretty quickly if they don't have a ton of capacity, like here where it was, a couple, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and here's where it is now. I just drew a little line on there to see progress relative to the black ink. And I guess the black ink I was maybe using more. It's not like a perfect one-to-one user's time test. But I like this pen a lot. I have a few of them. I thought I lost this, and I found it, so I bought another one. You can buy these for maybe about $7-8 now, but you got to hunt it down. You got to find it on a Japanese pen importer site because they're not fully available in the US yet, and they all come in these cool monochrome finishes. This is like a sand or something like that. I do like the colors a lot. So this pen's quite comfortable. It has a rubberized front grip, and then the three colors. It's interesting that they went with the button instead of 3 sliders. Typically, you would see the clip slide, which they might have done with. The clip is really light. It's kind of useless. So having a sliding clip is typically fine. Having a button is a little bit strange because, okay, fine, you have the button, which makes the black very easy to get to. Say you're using the blue and you want to pop it off, just like, retract it. You push the button and you could half push it, but often you just push it too much and then it just switches over to the black. So you need to push it again. So it's easier when you have all sliders than you just do a half slide, but I don't know. It's definitely an interesting design choice and a very cool pen. Highly recommend these Jetstream multi-pens. Lastly, I've been using these. I really like the Caran pencils. This is the Caran Nespresso collaboration, which apparently they put some Nespresso espresso powder, like the used espresso grinds. They put them in the lead to kind of like recycle, kind of eco, whatever. And cool idea, but they made the refill substantially worse. But I bought a 3-pack of these just because it looked cool, and I committed to using them all until they were completely done. But I can tell you that they made the lead itself much worse than it was by adding that espresso powder to it. But probably quite predictably, it made it worse, since coffee has no business being inside of a pencil. But cool idea, and kudos for trying something. It's a nice pencil. The wood is very high end. Caran uses their Swiss wood. That's the FSC. That means I think it's eco certification, and I think the wood is actually from sustainably grown in Switzerland, which is very cool. But unfortunately, the lead is just below the standard quality I'd expect from Caran. I've been working my way through that 3-pack and kind of enjoying the pencils, but being disappointed with the lead quality. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been using for the past couple months. Thanks for watching.